I just wanted to neuter the turtle, but I actually forced him to speak human words and reveal a shocking secret.
He said a blood moon will descend on this year's Lantern Festival night.
By then, the earth will crack with countless abyssal fissures, and countless evil giants will crawl out of these fissures. They are incredibly powerful, and they feed on humans. Fortunately, beasts and insects have also undergone mutations and can form contracts with humans to transform into Ultra Beast armor. I wasn't too surprised by this, because ever since I got this turtle, my life has been completely transformed. Following his guidance, I first won 300 million in the lottery, and then my business ventures went smoother than ever. In just 10 years, I built an industry with a market value of 1 trillion. Then the old turtle chuckled again. You still have half a year to prepare. You should buy as much land in the new district as possible, and then try your best before the Lantern Festival night to build a super strong fortress. Because in my prophetic dream, the 3 abyssal fissures that appeared in Shanggu City are all quite far from the new district. My expression remained calm. I asked in a flat voice if human nuclear weapons could deal with those giants. The turtle spoke up, saying that by then, Blue Star's magnetic field will have changed, and nuclear weapons will no longer be able to produce nuclear fusion. Other weapons, however, will remain unaffected. I didn't hesitate, and immediately called the general manager of the real estate department. Secure that land in the new district within 3 days? I don't care even if we lose money on it. As an employee, Wu Rui naturally follows whatever the boss says. Since you put it that way, boss, then we can secure that land today. After hanging up the phone, I hesitated about whether to inform the higher-ups, but they probably wouldn't believe me even if I told them. I'll wait until the fortress is being built to issue an announcement in the name of the group. As for the high-ranking officials, whether they believe it or not, depends on what they think. My gaze fell upon the old turtle once more. In your prophetic dream, did you see what kind of beast I formed a contract with? The old turtle suddenly started chuckling. Why bother with a contract? Wouldn't it be better to just enslave them? My eyes flickered. Can it really be done that way? The old turtle said confidently. Before the disaster strikes, I can still pull it off with my abilities. I know of a black-banded snake that transforms into black dragon armor, a dragon Li cat that can transform into Cheonchi armor, and a 5-colored yak that can transform into 5-element Kirin armor. Furthermore, I also know of 9 other powerful ultra beasts. You can find 9 of your most trusted inner circle, and I'll help enslave those beasts for them along the way. However, that is the limit of what I can do. My eyes lit up. 9 people? What a coincidence. I happen to have 9 subordinates who have worked with me from the start, who specifically handle the group's off-the-books business. The next morning, right after I returned from my run, I received a call from Wu Rui. Boss, we've secured the new district for 90 billion. Longyu Group wanted to compete with us at first. They truly were courting death. I said calmly, it's good that you got it. Next, I have a very important task to entrust to you. Wu Rui's voice was firm and powerful. Please go ahead, boss. I guarantee the mission will be accomplished. I said straight to the point, within half a year, on that land in the new district, build a fortress that can withstand a nuclear strike. How much funding do you think you'll need? Wu Rui was completely stunned upon hearing this. He stammered, Boss, are you serious? Although he didn't doubt for a second that his boss definitely had the means, my words were still too mind-blowing for him. After receiving my confirmation, Wu Rui tried his best to calm himself down. Finished within half a year, and it has to withstand a nuclear explosion. I feel it would need at least 500 billion. I waved my hand dismissively. I'm giving you the authority to mobilize 600 billion in funds. Within half a year, make sure I see an indestructible fortress. The employee Wu Rui immediately guaranteed he would finish the miss. Siam, I said, then I'll leave it up to you. Call me anytime if there are any difficulties. Understood, boss. I'll gather the team to discuss starting the construction right now. After hanging up the phone, I looked at the old turtle on the table and said, Old Black, If the disaster doesn't happen by then, my 600 billion will have gone down the drain. The old turtle chuckled. My prophetic dreams have never been wrong. Otherwise, how would you have achieved what you have today? I asked curiously, what exactly is your relationship with that old beggar who gave you to me all those years ago? Gao, the old turtle's eyes swiveled around. Is it possible that I am that old beggar? If it weren't for the fact that you barely had any money back then, but were still willing to share half with me, you wouldn't be the man calling the shots today. Just then, a pleasant female voice came from outside the door. Mr. Gu, breakfast is ready. This woman with impeccable looks and figure is named Sumu Yao. She is my housekeeper and secretary. I arrived at the dining room when my phone suddenly rang. It was the board members calling. None of them approved of the group using 600 billion to build a refuge fortress. I immediately said sternly, "Who do you think you are, trying to tell me how to do my job? If you have a problem with my decision, then sell your shares as soon as possible." After saying that, I hung up the call immediately. Facing me, who held a 70% stake, they could only grumble a few complaints. Even if they weren't convinced, they had to suck it up. Seeing this, Su Miao stepped forward and asked, "Mr. Gu, any schedule to arrange after breakfast?" I took a sip of milk and said flatly, "There are no company matters scheduled for the coming week. You handle things for me. For business deals worth less than 10 billion, there's no need to ask for my opinion. Just make the decision yourself." Upon hearing this, Su Miao didn't ask any further questions. She had been with me for 7 years and understood my personality very well. Domineering and powerful, my word is final. The reason I arranged things this way was because for the next 6 months, I planned to focus on physical training. Just after breakfast, a burly man who looked quite fierce walked in quickly. He sat down casually across from me and said, "Big brother, you were looking for me?" This man's name was Si Ju Kwang. He has been my closest friend since elementary school. I nodded to him. "I have a task for you." Si Ju Kwang nodded excitedly and said, "Big brother, who do you want me to take out this time?" Hearing that, I couldn't help but smile. Don't always think about taking people out. Then I took out my phone and sent him a file. I continued, "The ones I sent you, every animal listed in that file. Find them even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground. This is very important to us." Upon hearing this, CQ Kwang didn't ask much either, and simply nodded and accepted the task. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, a week passed. During this time, all online platforms were discussing the same thing. That was the subject of Shenshin Group building a refuge fortress, and the announcement I released under the name of Shenshin Group about this year's Lantern Festival night, declaring a global catastrophe would occur. Everyone was talking about whether the disaster was real or not. At the same time, Shenshin Group quickly received a warning from Shangjing. I wasn't surprised about this. That day, I told the group to delete the announcement, and we symbolically published a clarification announcement. But with the massive launch of the refuge fortress construction, plenty of wealthy people, just to be safe, contacted Shenshin Group one after another, wanting to buy property inside the fortress. I didn't refuse them. I had Sumu offer 50 million per suite for 100 square meters. For every extra 10 square meters, the price goes up by 10 million. Meanwhile, I continued to focus on how to train my body. I even invited a few martial arts masters, hoping to achieve total transformation within half a year. Although Old Turtle didn't ask me to train, with the disaster approaching, having a good body couldn't hurt. Half a month later, someone from Shangjing came to meet me. He was a stern-faced elder who introduced himself. "Hello, Mr. Jiyu, I am Lin Baikuan, commander of the 8th Military District. About the disaster announcement from your Shenshin Group, what's really going on?" Actually, in the past half-month, they had been discussing the authenticity of this issue. After all, it concerns the survival of humanity. I leaned back on the sofa and said calmly, "Commander Lin, I can't guarantee it's absolutely true. As for whether you believe it or not, That's up for you to decide. Lin Baikuen gave me a deep look and said gravely, after discussion at the highest levels of the empire, for the sake of our billion-plus citizens, we've decided it's better to be safe than sorry. But when it comes to building refuges, we need to avoid areas with abyssal fissures. Can you advise us on that, Mr. Jiyu? The only reason the empire chose to believe me is entirely because of my identity. If it had been an ordinary person, they would have laughed it off. As a child of Yan Huang, since the empire chose to believe, naturally I won't hold back if I can help. Just then, Chu Kwang's voice called from outside. Bro.
I'm back.
He strode inside, and I turned to look at him. Did you get everything? Chu Kwang patted his chest. Don't worry, bro. Everything's been delivered to the backyard. I said to Lin Baikuen, Commander Lin, I have some things to take care of. Later, I'll send you the locations of the refuge fortresses for each city. Lin Baikuen stood up to leave. If that's so, I won't disturb you any longer, Mr. Jiyu. Arriving at the backyard, I saw several large trucks parked there. All kinds of animals were locked inside cages on the trucks. The other 8 top fighters from the group saw me arrive and greeted me one after another. I nodded to them and spoke to Old Black, the turtle on my shoulder. Lao Hei, look and see if all the animals you mentioned are here. Old Black nodded. Walk me around. Chu Kwang and the others were shocked to see a turtle talking. Their expressions were as if they'd seen a ghost. I ignored their astonishment and led Old Black straight to the trucks. After half an hour of picking and choosing, only 12 cages remained at the scene. As for the other animals, they were all sent to the zoo under the New Gods group. Chu Kwang asked me in confusion. Bro, what's the point of all this? I smiled slightly, saying, they are our ticket to surviving the coming apocalypse. Besides the 5-colored yak, the black-ringed snake, and the tabby cat, you can each pick one. Chu Kwang claimed the first pick. Then I'll take the tiger, so no one else fight me for it. You guys stay out of my way. The other 8 men each chose their favorite beast, following suit. I looked at Old Black, the turtle on my shoulder. Lao Hei, what do we do next? Old Turtle answered, a little annoyed. First, draw blood from each of you and your super beast. Then mix in my blood and split it, half injected into you, half into the super beast. That way, when the red moon arrives, you'll be the masters of these super beasts. Otherwise, you'd only be able to form equal contracts like others. Keep in mind, whether a contracted super beast helps you depends entirely on their mood. But if you enslave them directly, all it takes is a thought from you. Super beast armament. Everyone was intrigued. All eyes curiously fell on Old Black. How does that armament work? Old Black explained, super beasts can attach themselves to you, turning into powerful armor. After reaching tier 6, they can evolve into even stronger super beast mechs. Hearing this, everyone looked excited. Chu Kwang grinned wickedly. Black Master. Thank you. How about I get you a female turtle? At least 10, so you can have a good time. Old Black's tiny eyes went round. Get out of here. Don't waste any more time. Start drawing my blood. Not too much. Just 1 drop per person. That's enough. After mixing Old Black's blood, everyone injected themselves and their super beasts. Over the following days, so as not to cause panic, the authorities kept things quiet. But eventually rumors spread, as paper can never fully cover fire. With fortresses being built one after another, the news got out anyway. Suddenly, all of Long Country was in chaos. Skeptical talk was everywhere. With things as they were, the authorities knew they couldn't hide it. So they released an announcement. Its content was identical to what Shenshin Group had posted before. After the announcement, not only Long Country, but all overseas countries were thrown into total chaos. But Long Country's government quickly promised not to abandon anyone. Of course, that was just a kind lie. In reality, at most every household could pick one person. Those who settled down mostly volunteered to help build refuge fortresses for free. With the whole country mobilized, one by one, fortresses 400 to 500 meters high, rose up from the ground. Time flew by, and soon it was February 9th. That day, I was at the villa playing with a tabby cat. When Wu Rui called, after I answered, I heard his excited voice. Boss, did you see the video I sent you? Our refuge fortress is finished. It's ready for move-in any time. I responded with satisfaction. I saw it. Looks great. In a few days, let's organize for the group's staff and their families. Move in first. Additionally, the supplies produced and acquired by the group in the past 6 months should be transported in as soon as possible. Time has quickly passed to February 24th. Today is the Lantern Festival. Inside the Shenshin Refuge Fortress at this time, everyone who should be here has already arrived. Outside the fortress are agricultural lands. The central area is filled with layered apartment buildings and various factories. Going further in, there's a luxurious residential area. At the very center of the fortress is the Shenshin Group Tower, as well as massive warehouses storing all kinds of supplies. On the observatory atop the group tower, me, Si Chu Kwang, and 9 other elite enforcers from the group are gathered here. Si Yu Kwang looks toward Lao Hei, who is lazily lying on the table, and feeling both excitement and complexity, asks Hey, it's already 11:50.
10 more minutes.
Will disaster really strike then? His feelings are complicated, because nearly 70% of humanity did not make it into the refuge fortress. Lao Hei glanced at Chu Kwang and said, hopefully it's all false. Just then, the peaceful night suddenly erupted with lightning and thunder. Colored lightning lit up the entire night sky like a web. When it reached 23:59, the full moon in the sky began to be gradually covered in red. As the clock struck midnight, the ground began to shake violently. Shangdu, this metropolis with millions of residents, slowly cracked open with 3 canyon-like fissures. And at this very moment, the tabby cat quietly resting in my arms suddenly darted out, bathed in the crimson moonlight. Suddenly, a surge of silver light flowed around it.
Next.
It gradually transformed into a ferocious-looking Qiangqi beast ring. The ring glowed with dark golden light, emanating a terrifying aura. The next second, it shot to hover in front of me. As everyone was amazed by this scene, several more rings whizzed through the air. One after another, beast rings flew to their owners. In front of me, besides the Qiangqi beast ring, there was also a black dragon beast ring and a 5-color Kirin beast ring. Lao Hei shook his head at this moment and said, put them on. Not only will they strengthen your bodies, but they'll also grant you the ability to activate a super beast armor at any time. Holding a glass of red wine and watching the excited crowd, Si Yi Chu Kwang's white tiger armor looked imposing. The pressure was so intense that even the air seemed to freeze. Su Miao traced the patterns of the Azure Luan armor, her face full of disbelief. Zhao Meng patted the chest plate of his statue armor, showing off with pride. Jiang Fang, wearing the ice stream armor, jumped off a platform hundreds of meters high. Zhao Meng refused to be outdone, jumped right after him. After 2 loud crashes, the two began fighting downstairs. Guan Hu, wearing the green-yellow armor, leaned over and asked, Big bro, aren't you gonna try your 3 super beasts? Si Shu Kwang looked at me eagerly. Yeah, big bro. We're all curious how powerful your armor is. Li Yu smiled and chimed in. Big bro, show us please. Everyone's eyes focused on me. I took a sip of red wine and smiled. Do you really want to see? Then let me show you. Black dragon armor activation. With a buzzing sound, the black dragon beast ring on my finger rippled. In an instant, a suit adorned with dragon patterns and wrapped in black lightning covered my body. Under the dragon helm, my crimson eyes glowed with a fierce aura. All present were forced to retreat by this imperial pressure. Even their super beasts dared not show any hostility. Qion spear activation. As I lifted my hand, a long spear, dark gold and shrouded in darkness, appeared in my palm. The spear tip was like bristles and arrows. The tail end had the ferocious head of Qion. Its aura made everyone's hearts race. Wu Rui swallowed hard and stepped back, asking, Boss, what kind of weapon is that? I smiled lightly. Of course, it's a god-slaying weapon. Who wants to try its power? Zhao Feng quickly waved his hands. Big bro, don't mess with us. Just its aura makes my super beast tremble. Kwang chased curiously. Big bro, what's your last super beast? Can we get a look at it too? I shook my head. Not right now. The 5-element Kirin armor needs to pair with the Black Dragon armor. It's too much trouble. Just then, a crash echoed from downstairs. Zhao Meng narrowly defeated Zhang Feng using the power of the statue armor. Su Miao spoke up. President Jiyu. Just now my super beast told me hunting giants for hot crystal cores can help us advance. I looked at Lao Hei lazily lying on the table and asked, Lao Hei, do you have anything to say? Lao Hei yawned. Take advantage of the giants still being weak and hunt them quickly. The ones that have shown up so far are just appetizers. I nodded and ordered, Wu Rui, go gather all super beast fighters in the fortress. Get ready to go hunt giants with me. Yes, I'll have someone broadcast it now. The night was pitch black. Silver light blanketed the globe. Countless evil giants crawled out of the bottomless cracks. The bustling city of Shangdu instantly turned into a hellscape. Ordinary buildings looked like paper in front of giants. In just half an hour, countless humans were swallowed by giants. Super beast fighters from all over quickly formed teams to strike, hunting giants, collecting crystal cores. On one street, a man in golden dragon armor beheaded a 15-meter giant with one sword stroke. He dug out its gray-white heart, absorbed the crystal core, then 3 figures rushed over. A man in black armor reported, Boss, we took an underground boxing ring. There are over 100 people and more than 10 super beast fighters inside. A woman in peacock armor hesitated. Boss, are we really not going to the official refuge fortress? The man in golden dragon armor replied silently. Why should we go? When we were regular people, they abandoned us. Why help them now? The man in black armor said coldly. That's right, the authorities abandoned us first. Why should we serve them now? The man in golden dragon armor thought for a moment. Let's gather supplies and hunt giants at the same time. We'll head over in the morning. Just as he finished speaking, a 20-meter giant charged in, roaring. The man in golden dragon armor unfurled his dragon wings, grabbed his holy sword and rushed forward. Sacred Dragon Emperor Slash. A brilliant golden sword light instantly cut through the giant's energy. The blade sliced it in half at the waist. He turned and said to Peacock, Peacock, hurry up and dig out the heart. This giant's crystal core is yours. Early morning of Lunar New Year's Day. Blue Star was already riddled with wounds. At least 1 million giants rampaged across Shangdu. Battles between Ultra Beast warriors and giants can be seen everywhere. However, most Ultra Beast warriors abandoned by the authorities are unwilling to serve the official forces. On a street, dozens of Ultra Beast warriors are desperately fleeing. Behind them, a 30-meter-tall red Kai giant crushes a building with every step. This giant opens its mouth and fires a beam. Instantly, several Ultra Beast warriors who couldn't dodge in time are sliced in half. He grabs the corpses, chewing as he continues hunting the rest. On top of a building several kilometers away, one of my men watches in terror and immediately contacts me. At this moment, I'm in a residential complex, having just split a 25-meter giant with a single shot. Nearly 100 giants nearby have already been slain by me. The survivors in the complex watch me in silence. I dig out the giant's heart and absorb its crystal core. My whole body flashes with light, and my aura soars several times over. 3rd tier, huh? I mutter quietly to myself. Just as I'm about to leave, an anxious voice from my subordinate comes through the communicator. Director GU, are you available? I've got a 30-meter giant in blazing crimson armor over here, wildly hunting Ultra Beast warriors. A hint of interest flashes in my eyes. A giant wearing armor, that's intriguing. Follow at a distance. I'll be right there. With that, lightning flashes around me. I step into thin air and disappear into the night. The forums on the Ultra Beast network have already exploded. Countless people are posting coordinates asking for help with the Red Kai giant. Plenty of powerful warriors are also rushing to the scene. The vermilion bird Kai woman refines the crystal core in her hands, then rushes straight toward the coordinates.
The golden dragon Kai Man orders the peacock to gather the crew
and follow him. The area where the red Kai giant is has already become a sea of fire and ruins. His actual height is 33 meters. His entire red Kai armor flows with flames, and there's an unopened vertical eye on his brow. He grabs several Ultra Beast warriors hiding in a building and tosses them into his mouth, letting out a deafening roar. What's truly terrifying is that all the giants who hear it rush toward this spot en masse. Ultra Beast warriors lurking in the shadows instantly feel a chilling coldness. Only now do they realize they may have fallen into a carefully laid trap. Shangdu is divided into 3 districts. In the second district, the roar of the red Kai giant spreads out, drawing countless giants in the same direction. Inside the command hall of the official evacuation fortress, Lin Baikuan frowns at the satellite projection and stands up. What's going on? Why are all the giants in the second district moving in one direction? The adjutant immediately reports, Commander, it's not just the giants. Most Ultra Beast warriors are heading that way too. Lin Baikuan's expression hardens. The red Kai giant over 30 meters pull up the satellite. I want a live feed. When the feed shows the red Kai giant slaughtering Ultra Beast warriors, Lin Baikuan's pupils contract sharply. Damn it, he can control other giants. This is an intelligent giant. We must eliminate it as soon as possible. The adjutant says gravely, Commander, this giant is just too strong. We don't know if anyone can match it. Lin Baikuan looks at the adjutant. Can you reach Jiu Qi? He can predict disasters. His strength must be extraordinary. The adjutant shakes his head. You have to add someone as a friend on the Ultra Beast network to contact them, and we don't have his contact info. By now I'm leaving the first district, rushing toward the second district. I've activated the second form of the Black Dragon Kai, and 2 fierce black dragons covered in dragon pattern armor grow from my back. Every giant I kill along the way, the twin dragons immediately tear out their hearts and devour them. Just then, a message from Chu Kwang comes in. Bro, are you heading to the second district? I reply calmly, on my way. You don't need to come. I can handle him myself. Chu Kwang responds without hesitation. All right, then we won't go over. In his eyes, my words are never arrogant, but just the natural order. After entering the second district, I run into dozens of rampaging giants. When they spot me, white mist surges around them immediately. As they charge at me, a cold flash passes through my eyes, and I call out, Thunder Dragon, annihilate all directions. Hundreds of meters overhead, a 9-pointed star formation appears in an instant. 18 thunder dragons roar as they pounce on the giants. Wails of agony ring out one after another. All the giants are torn apart by the thunder dragons. The ground is left scorched and black. I quickly devour all of their hearts, then continue rushing toward the red Kai giant. After fighting through hundreds of giants, I finally arrive at the scene. I land atop a 10-story building, my twin dragons circling behind me, and watch the battle below with a calm gaze. At this moment, the satellites are broadcasting the battle nationwide. Fighting the red Kai giant are the fierce evil Kai man and the ice flame Kai woman. The fierce evil Kai man holds a shield in one hand and a broadsword in the other, barely able to withstand the red Kai giant's blazing fists. The ice flame Kai woman wields a frosty longbow, moving around the periphery, aiming at the giant's eyes to shoot. I watch for a moment and shake my head. What reckless fools. From my viewpoint, it's perfectly clear. The red Kai giant is just toying with them. He's playing with them like flies, ready to crush them at any moment. More and more Ultra Beast warriors arrive to watch the fight. But the giants that had gathered suddenly all withdraw. This bizarre scene even leaves Lin Baikuan in the command hall puzzled. On another tall building, Zhang Luoshan stands coldly with dozens of his men. A man in black Kai armor sneers, Boss, when are we making our move? Zhang Luoshan scoffs. What's the rush? Let those 2 seeking death die first. Suddenly, The red Kai giant lets out a thunderous roar. From the back of its armor, it draws a gigantic axe engulfed in flames. It steps forward, unleashing a terrifying aura. The fierce evil Kai man's weapon is instantly blown away, his armor covered in cracks, and both man and armor collapse spectacularly. The ice flame Kai woman is terrified and turns to flee, but the red Kai giant gives her no chance.
He raises his giant axe high
And slashes out a flaming arc dozens of meters long, instantly engulfing the ice flame Kai woman. The two top Ultra Beast warriors couldn't even last a single exchange. He only took 4 seconds, he was holding back. He lured us here on purpose, to wipe us all out. The Ultra Beast warriors watching recoil in terror, and many of their beasts sound a warning in fear. At this moment, the vertical eye on the red Kai giant's brow finally opens. A crimson beam shoots out, instantly expanding into a massive barrier, encompassing an area of 6 or 7 kilometers. Everyone present, over 10,000 Ultra Beast warriors, are all trapped inside. They attack the barrier in a frenzy, but no matter what they do, they can't break out. Despair spreads like a plague. The vermilion bird Kai woman has just entered the barrier's range and sees the panicked crowd but doesn't pay much attention. She spreads her wings and heads straight for the center zone, wanting to see just how strong this red Kai giant really is. As she nears the battlefield, she sees Zhang Luochen leading 5 of his men in an assault on the red Kai giant. Zhang Luochen wields the Dragon Emperor's sacred sword, with golden light shining everywhere, managing to fight the red Kai giant head-on without losing ground. At that moment, Vermilion Bird senses an oppressive gaze falling on her. She turns to look, and sees me standing atop a tall building, with 2 black dragons coiling behind me, overlooking the battlefield like a king. Vermilion Bird lands next to me, greets me, "Hello, may I ask your name?" My gaze sweeps over her Vermilion Bird Kai armor, and I say indifferently that Vermilion Bird Kai isn't bad. Interested in joining Xingshen Corporation? Vermilion Bird is slightly startled. "You're President Jiyu of Xingshen Corporation." I nod lightly. Vermilion Bird looks at me deeply and shakes her head, saying, "Sorry, I'm afraid I can't accept." I don't press further and continue watching the battle below. Though she's strong, it's not like I absolutely must recruit her. The battle below is extremely fierce. Zhang Luochen is handling the frontal assault, while the Peacock Kai woman provides long-range support, and the other 3 take every chance to attack. They work together seamlessly. They actually have the red Kai giant on the ropes, Suzuku exclaimed in surprise. Their teamwork is truly impressive. I scoffed. In the face of absolute power, what use is teamwork? They can't possibly get the giant's crystal core. Suzuku was stunned. If you want to take it from them, they won't be easy to deal with. Especially that golden dragon Kai guy.
He's absurdly strong.
I can sense his strength. You're overestimating them. Do you really think that giant was fighting at full strength? As soon as I finished speaking, the battle suddenly changed. The red Kai giant got overwhelmed by harassment. He let out an angry roar. Dozens of vicious spiked tentacles grew from his back. His aura multiplied instantly. The tentacles swept across. All 5 of Zhang Luocheng's team were knocked away. Holy Dragon Judgment. Zhang Luocheng stabilized himself. He immediately unleashed his ultimate move, Holy Sword, transforming into a massive dragon sword that slashed down. The other 4 unleashed their own holy skills. 5 devastating attacks, all headed straight for the red Kai giant. Sensing the threat, the red Kai giant instantly withdrew the light barrier that covered the ground, changing it into a shield to protect himself. Thunderous echoes shook the whole second district. The red Kai giant was instantly swallowed by 5 beams of intense light. The surface collapsed more than 10 meters deep. The blinding light made it impossible to open your eyes. Their ultimate team attack was truly astonishing. It forced the red Kai giant to defend at full strength. Violent energy blasted the ground for hundreds of meters, sinking it over 10 meters. Everyone stared intensely at the deep crater, praying that the red Kai giant was dead. Zhang Luocheng looked at the worn-out crowd. He laughed. "Creature, even if it's still alive, it definitely won't be able to fight anymore."
Get ready to dig out its heart. The observing Ultra Beast warriors finally breathed a sigh of relief. Their eyes toward Zhang Luocheng were filled with awe. Even Lin Bekuen, far off at the official fortress, finally let go of his worries. But I shook my head with amusement. Sis, you're overestimating them. Suzaku was about to ask a question. From the deep crater, a pillar of crimson light suddenly shot up skyward, lighting up the night sky like daytime. The red Kai giant leaped out, his whole body covered in perfect red Kai armor. 9 thick tentacles danced behind him. His aura was many times stronger than before. Is this thing the damn unkillable cockroach or what? Everyone present was terrified. Zhang Luocheng's face turned pale.
He yelled, "Retreat! This giant has 3 forms."
No one here can beat him now. Suzaku watched the crowd scatter in panic, then turned to look at my always calm demeanor. Just then, I disappeared on the spot, turning into a bolt of black lightning, standing in front of the red Kai giant. He's actually daring to face the giant alone. Suzaku's eyes went wide in shock. The escaping Ultra Beast warriors all stopped in their tracks. The red Kai giant roared angrily. The massive axe in his hand surged with crimson light. Like an immortal red sun, it swung down at me. This blow was many times stronger than when he fought Zhang Luocheng. The energy radiating off it made even the distant spectators feel suffocated. The twin dragons behind me roared and charged, forcefully blocking the earth-shattering axe strike. Red Knight Divine Spear Armament. God-slaying Heavenly Pearl. I gave the red Kai giant no chance to react. Immediately unleashed my strongest killing move. 9 star pearls hung high in the sky. Thunder and golden rocks intertwined in a destructive torrent, instantly engulfing the red Kai giant, accompanied by a heart-wrenching scream. The red Kai giant's body completely broke apart in the starstones. Vaporized. A bottomless pit pierced through the surface. Only a basketball-sized red crystal core remained in the air. Everything fell silent. Countless Ultra Beast warriors stared at the night sky in awe. At the figure bathed in thunder, they forgot to even breathe. Suzaku's mind was utterly shattered. He thought it would be a brutal battle, but never expected that red Kai, the giant, would be instantly killed by my move. He suddenly felt deep regret, regretting not agreeing to join the Xingshen group earlier. Luocheng clenched his fists. His face was so dark it could drip water. As a die-hard Western dragon fan, he couldn't accept that an enemy he couldn't defeat was killed so easily by the Eastern Black Dragon. He gritted his teeth and called his men to retreat, leaving without looking back. I waved my hand, pulling the red crystal core into my palm, feeling the massive, pure energy within. I was slightly amazed. Immediately had 3 Ultra Beasts absorb it at the same time. After more than 10 seconds, the crystal core turned to powder and scattered. The 3 Ultra Beasts really are hard to raise. Even such a huge crystal core couldn't help them advance. I shook my head. A few steps and I vanished into the night. Tonight, at least 5,000 giants died at my hands. If I only had 1 Ultra Beast, it'd probably have reached level 5 already. Suzaku was just about to leave. His boss, Taudi, suddenly contacted him. Suzaku heard. The red Kai giant was instantly killed by a black dragon Kai man. Yes, Brother Lu is Jiuqi from the Xingshen group. So powerful it makes you tremble. Taudi gritted his teeth. Jiuqi. Talk about enemies meeting again. Back then he ruined my family. My dad jumped off a building because of him. This hatred can never be reconciled. Suzaku forced a smile. Brother Lu, with all due respect, you're no match for him. I don't want to die following you. Let's just go our separate ways. He ended the call right away, then had his own Ultra Beast add me as a contact. A moment later, my voice echoed in his mind. So you changed your mind? Suzaku quickly responded, Boss Jiyu, I don't want to be your enemy. About what Taudi mentioned, I cut him off calmly. Lu Yuan. Never heard of him. 4 years ago, I did take down a Lu corporation. If he wants revenge, let him come. Boss Jiu, you wanted me to join the Xingshen group before. Are you sure about it? Join the Xingshen group. Someday if Lu Yuan comes for revenge, you'll be enemies. Suzaku replied without hesitation. I only met him once. How could I ruin my own future? For a stranger? 8 a.m. Outside the Xingshen refuge fortress. After I finished the call, Suzaku spread his wings, turning into a streak of fire, continued hunting giants. Less than 3 hours until sunrise. The first wave of giants climbing to the surface was slowly dwindling. But Old Hay said, "These are just appetizers. If a large number of red Kai giants show up later, how will humanity deal with it?" Many powerful Ultra Beast warriors feel this disaster isn't extinction level, that they really don't know. How many innocent lives vanished this night? Of the 7 million people in Chengdu, only about 2.6 million made it into the refuge. 4 to 5 million stayed outside. Just one night, more than half became wealthy or died. At dawn, the devastated Chengdu city finally quieted down. The millions of giants who crawled out of the abyss last night. Very few survived being killed. On the streets and in neighborhoods, giant corpses were everywhere. The 3 abyssal fissures remained silent. After 1 a.m., no more giants emerged. But this is only the beginning. The world's population of tens of billions was halved overnight. At 8 a.m., I turned into a bolt of lightning and landed outside the gates of the Shengshen fortress. Zhao Yu, who had been waiting at the door since 7:30, hurried towards me, shouting, "Director Jiyu." After a night of hunting, his super beast had reached the 4th level, but he still acted cautiously around me. I nodded at him, removed the dragon helmet to show my face. Zhao Yu opened the door and followed behind me.
He whispered, "Jiyu."
"Many organizations now are coveting your fortress," he told me. Chengdu already had the Dragon King's palace, and the Tiasha Society, plus several major forces with tens of thousands of members. I said calmly, "These mobs, if they dare to fight internally, I don't mind wiping them all out." After entering the fortress, I registered with Zhao Yu, then returned to the top floor office of the Shenzhen building. Just as I finished showering and breakfast, Lin Baikuan sent a WeChat voice message. Since I was outside hunting giants all night, I never had my phone with me, so I missed over a dozen calls from him. I leaned back on the couch, lit a cigarette, and asked Chief Lin, "What's the matter?" Lin Baikuan sighed. "Director Jiyu, last night, over 3 million civilians died at the hands of the giants. I want to take advantage now that the giants are almost cleared, and move the remaining 1.3 million survivors to the back of the fortress. What do you think?" I nodded. "That's a good idea. I'll send all Shenzhen Group's Super Beast warriors out to assist." Lin Baikuan smiled bitterly. Super Beast warriors outside are hard to rally. They all feel abandoned by the authorities.
Unless
We can find the powerful one who killed the Honkai giant instantly last night. Otherwise, it's too difficult. I smiled faintly. "Chief Lin, do you think that person might be me?" Baikuan was shocked and delighted. "Director Jiyu, it's really you." "Absolutely. I'll issue the call on the Super Beast web in the name of Black Dragon. I can't guarantee how many will respond, but I'll do my best." After ending the call, Old Hay's voice came, "Jiyu kid, tonight at midnight, the giant wave. You need to prepare for a bloody battle. Both their numbers and strength far surpass last night. If you can withstand this wave, there won't be any more giants for a week. By then, in many places, star seeds with energy higher than a giant's heart will grow." Hearing this, I logged into the Super Beast web, only to find a new section on the page that wasn't there last night. At the top of the leaderboard, it's me, the dragon. Merit score, 987,600. Not only far exceeding second place Kompang's 737,800, but also more than all those after combined. The board explains, top 100 with 900 million merit points will earn a chance to summon Super Beast armor. Curious, I asked Old Hay, "Isn't it necessary for Super Beast to reach level 6 to summon armor?" Old Hay lazily replied, "Theoretically, yes, but the success rate is abysmal. The Super Beast King's reward can summon directly with guaranteed success. You have 3 Super Beasts. Each can summon once, but don't even think about it until level 12. I didn't ask further, and posted a notice in the Shangdu channel, calling all Super Beast warriors to escort survivors to official or Shenzhen shelters. The name Black Dragon had already shaken up Shangdu last night. After posting, over 1,000 replies flooded in within seconds. Countless Super Beast warriors responded. Many even said they wanted to join Shenzhen Group. At this moment, Sumiyao pushed the door open and entered, and asked, "Director Jiyu, is there anything you need?" I stubbed out my cigarette and said there will be a large number of super beast warriors coming soon. So you shouldn't rest today. Be responsible for settling them in. There are more than 60,000 vacant rooms in the super beast regiment. If that's not enough, house 2 per room. Make do for now, and notify everyone else. Super beast warriors without assignments should rest up. There will be a fierce battle tonight. Su Miao nodded earnestly and agreed. At the same time, in a dim room of an underground boxing arena in Chengdu, a conspiracy against me was brewing. Zhang Luochen swirled his wine glass, saying to Taudi, Rakshasa Girl, and the Lightning King, if Buki and Busi don't die, we can never control everything in Chengdu. Rakshasa Girl frowned and said, but he could insta-kill the red armor giant in one move. The 4 of us combined might not be his match. Zhang Luochen said confidently, Taudi and I will lead the attack, while you and the Lightning King keep him occupied. I'm certain I can interrupt him when he tries to use the heavenly bead. Lu Yuan, he said through gritted teeth, strike now, while he doesn't have many followers yet. We move tonight when he goes out to hunt giants. This is the best opportunity. The Lightning King pondered for a moment, then slowly nodded. The others looked at each other, and nodded one after another. Rakshasa Girl frowned and said, since giants are attacking tonight, we need to scout the terrain in advance. Just to be safe. The others also expressed their agreement. The moon hung high in the sky. Ever since the earth started splitting, the days had been getting shorter and shorter. Perhaps it wouldn't be long before the sun disappeared forever, and blood would completely take over the sky. I stood on the rooftop of the Star God building, swirling my wine glass, watching the super beast warriors arriving from all directions. They were driving large groups of survivors forward. Terror was written all over everyone's faces. Having experienced too many life and death partings, they had long become jumpy and fearful. Has only one batch arrived? I raised an eyebrow, somewhat dissatisfied with this efficiency. At this rate, at most, one more batch could arrive before dark. As for the 3rd and 4th batches, once night falls, and the giants crawl out, whether they can make it here alive is anyone's guess. I looked up at the blood moon in the sky. It was bigger and rounder than yesterday, and blindingly red. Just then, across the entire city of Chengdu, roars suddenly broke out one after another. The sounds came from deep within the cracks, as orderly as an army. On a certain street, the super beast warriors escorting survivors suddenly stopped in their tracks. The man in black gold armor leading them frowned and said, "Did you guys hear that?" Another person said nervously, "I heard it. There's only half an hour left. It's getting dark. We need to hurry." Suddenly, the leading man pointed ahead in terror and said, "Wait a minute. What is that up ahead?" In a crack not far away, a giant hand covered in crimson scales was stuck. The man in black gold armor waved it off dismissively. "It's just a severed hand, isn't it? What are you afraid of? Keep moving." With a loud tearing sound, the ground suddenly collapsed, forming a massive deep pit. A powerful suction sucked in the surrounding buildings and the man in black gold armor together, instantly vanishing without a trace. The pit existed for only a moment, closing rapidly after absorbing everything. The remaining super beast warriors were scared out of their wits, abandoning the survivors and scattering in flight. At the same time, a massive amount of help requests flooded the super beast network. All the messages were saying the same thing. Even more terrifying monsters have crawled out from underground. Su Miao rushed onto the rooftop and said, "President Jiyu, have you seen the super beast network?" The second batch was intercepted, and we've lost contact with them. I gave an response. Before she came in, I had already seen those messages. Old Black's voice drifted over leisurely. Humans have super beasts to protect them. When the blood moon descends, the giants will naturally evolve as well. This is only the first stage. Su Miao said in surprise. Are they coming out early? No, they are waiting for the arrival of a big guy. I can feel it. Something was watching me from the shadows. This hair-raising feeling, instead of making me afraid, made my blood boil with excitement. Yesterday's small fry weren't enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. Now, there's finally an opponent worth looking at. In the underground boxing arena, Rakshasa girl looked at the Super Beast network and frowned. Something unexpected has happened outside. Is our plan still going forward? Zhang Luochen swirled his beer bottle, his eyes full of madness. Of course it's going forward. The more chaotic it is, the better our chance of killing him. The woman in peacock armor wanted to say something else, but he cut her off directly. No buts. Now is not the time for womanly mercy. As it grew late, darkness pressed upon the city. Wild winds raged, and countless giant creatures squirmed beneath the surface, covering the entire underground like earth dragons. In just 3 hours, over 1,000 super beast warriors lost their lives. The number of ordinary people who died was even more incalculable. Wave after wave of attacks gave no one a chance to catch their breath. Just then, super beast warriors all over the world felt a terrifying aura, as if some ancient behemoth was about to awaken. It was destined to be a sleepless night. I could clearly feel that sense of being watched. It was coming from the city center. Zhang Luochen led the group out of the underground boxing arena. It was pitch black outside. Lightning streaked across the night sky, illuminating their hideous faces. The Super Beast team has already set out. We must reach the city center before Jiuqi. Zhang Luochen grinned maliciously. The city center is densely populated, and most likely to attract giants. Jiu Kai's first stop will definitely be there. Arranging the tasks, he said to Lu Yuan, "You and I will wait here. Rakshasa girl and Lightning King, go lie in ambush under the buildings over there." Lu Yuan asked, "What if the new giant doesn't show up?" A flash of ruthlessness crossed Zhang Luochen's eyes. "Don't worry, he'll come." To ensure nothing went wrong, he had actually sent people to drive a group of ordinary humans to the city center to serve as bait. In his view, these ordinary people without Super Beast contracts were going to die sooner or later anyway. They might as well do him a favor before they died.
10 minutes later.
His subordinates arrived with a group of humans. The man in leopard armor at the head said flatteringly, "Brother Zhang, we've brought the people you wanted." Zhang Luochen waved his hand. "Good job. You guys can go rest now." However, just as the 4 subordinates turned to leave, the ground suddenly collapsed. A powerful suction instantly pulled them in. One man vanished on the spot. The remaining 3 struggled desperately. The woman in peacock armor was shocked. It's only just gotten dark. How did these monsters get here so fast? Rakshasa girl saw the true form of the creature clearly. It was a mass of soft, sludge-like organisms. Rows of fine teeth lined its devouring maw, making one's scalp crawl. "Brother Zhang, save me." The man in leopard armor let out a desperate cry for help. His legs had already been ground into a bloody mess by the teeth. At that moment, a blue figure flashed by, scooping the man in leopard armor out. It was a girl of 16 or 17, wearing bird-shaped armor, a pair of large blue wings on his back.
He glared angrily at Zhang Luocheng and the others. He said coldly, "Are you just going to watch them die?"
The peacock girl quickly replied, "We didn't even get a chance to make a move." The girl snorted coldly. "Trash like you doesn't deserve Super Beast contracts. What a waste." The Rakshasa woman chuckled as she walked forward. But there wasn't a trace of a smile in her eyes. "Little sister, you can't talk like that. You're still young, you don't understand the pros and cons." Suddenly, the Electric King shouted in surprise. "Careful, everyone back up quickly." All those sludge-like monsters suddenly floated into the air and flew off in the same direction. Not only that, even the giants devouring humans paused their actions and all kneeled toward the city center. With a deafening thunder overhead, a huge red tentacle emerged from the largest crack. Then came the second, the third. In just moments, countless tentacles poured out of the fissure. On a rooftop nearby, Yu Kuang frowned and asked, "What the heck is that? Is it an octopus?" Guan Hu shook his head. "Doesn't look like it. Since when does an octopus have so many tentacles?" He turned to look at me and asked, "Boss, what do you think?" I stood at the front of the group, staring into the depths of the fissure. A slight smirk appeared at the corner of my mouth. I think that's an eye. Si Chu Kuang chuckled and said, "Stop joking." How could that be? He didn't even get to finish his sentence. A massive golden tree child crawled out from the crack. That eye stared straight at me, as if it could see through my soul. All three of the super beasts inside me started to roar wildly. It wasn't fear, it was excitement. The thrill of about to defeat a powerful enemy and gain even greater power. Everyone was stunned by the giant eye. No one noticed. The blood moon in the sky had become even more eerie. Dark red light washed over the land. All the giants' eyes turned crimson. The bodies of all the giants in the city center were swelling at visible speed. They didn't stop growing until they were 3 times their original size. A piercing scream rang out from the eastern ruins. Xuan Hukai didn't even have time to react before being crushed by a giant. His blood splattered all over his teammates. I said coldly, "Let's go. Our battle is about to begin." Si Chu Kuang and the others immediately charged forward. The other super beast warriors grabbed their weapons and started fighting. I sped past with my Kion Night God lance in hand. Those mountain-sized giants couldn't last 3 seconds in front of me. I only have one goal. That crimson eye. The other super beast warriors spotted me and cheered. Zhang Luocheng saw this and spat viciously. "Can't let that kid beat us to it. Let's go too." He and his team shot out like cannonballs, all hoping to claim this huge achievement, to boost their rankings on the merit board. Around the crimson eye, not a single blade of grass grew. Scorching heat hit me in the face. I stood atop the tallest building, with 2 black dragons swirling behind me. The vermilion bird landed next to me, smiled and asked, "Did you call me here because of him?" My old team captain. Lu Yuan looked up and saw us. His expression was complex and unreadable. Zhao Yufei took the initiative and said, "Since we've been noticed, I'll go say hello." Zhang Luocheng dashed ahead the fastest, his eyes full of madness. I snorted coldly. What a bunch of idiots. At that moment, countless tentacles shot up from underground, forming a giant web, trapping everyone inside. The tentacles instantly turned into sharp spikes and rained down on them bullets. Zhang Luozheng summoned his holy sword. Using sacred judgment to block the attack, he deflected the tentacle strikes toward the other super beast warriors. Everyone unleashed their ultimate moves. But the moment their skills hit the crimson eye, they collapsed. The peacock gasped. How can this be? Could it be because we're too far away? The Rakshasa woman growled impatiently. What the hell is this thing? I chuckled softly and turned to run the other way. This made everyone freeze in shock. The Super Beast network exploded instantly. Some said I was scared. Others said I was just afraid to die. Lin Baikuan was frantically pacing. But he knew. I never run away. I ran to the spot opposite the crimson eye, stopped and raised my Keong Slayer lance. Ignited crimson flames. Slayer's ground shatter. The 2 black dragons behind me soared into the sky, then suddenly plunged underground. The ground suddenly opened up, creating a giant hole over 30 meters wide, accompanied by a blood-curdling scream. The real crimson eye emerged from the depths of the hole. Everyone was stunned. Wait, how can there be 2 crimson eyes? Turns out what they had been attacking was just an illusion. The real body had been hiding underground all along, waiting for them to exhaust their strength. I sneered and said, "Your plan was pretty clever. But unfortunately, you ran into me." God-slaying finisher break. A 5-clawed black dragon engulfed in flames burst out from within me, letting out an earth-shattering roar. It instantly charged into the hole, smashing the crimson eye to pieces. With the demise of the main body, the illusion in the sky vanished as well. Comments on Super Beast Net immediately flipped. Everyone started wildly praising me. Zhang Luochen and the others stood still, shocked expressions on their faces. Luoshuo girl murmured, "I never expected this. His power is actually terrifying to this extent." Peacock added softly, "Can we really deal with someone like this?" Zhang Luochen stared at me intently, grinding his teeth, saying, "Damn it." I sensed his gaze, slowly turned my head to meet his eyes. But I didn't take this insignificant ant seriously at all. Lowered my head. looking at the blood-red crystal core in my hand, about the size of a goose egg. Although this crystal core is small, it contains immense power. After I finished absorbing the crystal core, I found that my 3 super beasts still showed no signs of advancing. Looks like I need even greater strength. At that moment, Chu Kwang rushed over with his subordinates and reported, Chief Jiyu. The giant in the east has been completely slain. The one in the west is finished too. We found the bodies of the 3rd squad. Only 2 super beast warriors survived, but both are seriously wounded. He looked grim, clearly shaken by the carnage at the scene. I ordered, bring these 2 back to the base. Our base has a world-class medical team. As long as they are breathing, we'll save them. Still, I felt things couldn't be this simple. Crimson Eye should be even stronger than the Red Kai giant. How could I have killed it in one strike? In the depths of fate, I sense there's a much larger net closing in on us. Chief Jiyu, be careful. An icy blue arrow suddenly tore through the air, grazed Chu Kwang's cheek and flew straight at me. Without turning my head, I reached out and caught the arrow. With a slight squeeze, it was crushed to dust. In the distance, a girl about 16 or 17 stood holding an ice bow. Her eyes were full of hostility. She yelled angrily, "Where's my sister? Give my sister back now." Chu Wang's eyes flashed with murderous intent. Even though she's just a young girl,
He didn't hold back at all.
Yu Kwang was brimming with killing intent. Sighed, a little girl like you dares to act this way? You're really overestimating yourself. The little girl panicked and retreated, barked fiercely, "If you come any closer, I won't be so nice to you all." Yu Kwang sneered, "With your skills?" I spoke up, "Wait." I turned to look at her. She was petite and adorable. At this moment, her cheeks were flushed red. Glaring at Yu Kwang, clearly upset, I asked, "What's this about your sister you mentioned?" The girl gritted her teeth and said, "My sister went out saying she was coming to find you guys. You haven't seen her, have you?" A familiar voice came from the side. Allah. An older woman darted over. She exclaimed, "Didn't I tell you to stay home? Why did you come out?" The young girl let out a huge sigh of relief. She said, "I heard there was a riot outside. I was worried something happened to you, so I came to rescue you." So that's how it is. Bing turned to look at me, apologetically said, "I'm really sorry. Let me apologize to everyone for my sister." After saying that, her eyes sparkled as she looked at me. She said, "I'm here to join you. I want to be part of your team." I sized up the pair of sisters. Their armor and weapons were almost identical. Bing scratched her head shyly and said, "Our super beast is a pair. The ice sparrows are twins. We've raised them together since childhood." I said calmly, "The 2 of you can enter the base, but you can't join the team. You're too weak, you still need more experience." Guan Hu's eyes flashed with surprise. After all, that sword strike just now already surpassed most super beast warriors. I continued, "You can't even control your own weapons. You both really need to train." Bing stayed silent for a moment. Determination flashed in her eyes as she said, "Got it. But I won't give up. I will join your team with my own effort." I ordered Zhang Feng, "Take them to see Su Mu Yo. Assign them a room." Zhang Feng nodded, "Got it. You two, come with me." With the Crimson Eye defeated, the giant's evolutionary energy vanished as well. Only a few hours later, the giants that crawled out of the fissure were slain one by one. Inside the underground arena, Zhang Luoken's group of 4 returned disappointed. Zhang Luoshen gulped down a mouthful of strong liquor. He cursed. The plan got interrupted before it even started. "What do we do now?" Electric King rubbed his bald head. He grumbled, "We worked so hard this time. Didn't expect that kid to steal the advantage." Luosho girl scoffed, "With your mediocre skills? You call that hard work?" "Actually, I have a good idea. It depends if you all are willing to help out." Lu Yuan straightened up and said, "Oh? What idea?" "Let's hear it." Luosha girl smiled and said, "Do you remember Zhuke? He's now joined Jiukai's team. But I remember he has a younger brother. If we find his brother, will he listen to us then? Zhang Luoshan was ecstatic. Great, with this leverage. He'll have no choice but to obey us. Luosha girl said confidently he's not at the base. He's with me. Meanwhile, we've already returned to the base. Lin Baikuan was waiting there, accompanied by 4 burly super beast warriors. He hurried over, saying, "You're finally here." I raised my eyebrow, asked, "Head Lin, is there something you need from me?" Lin Baikuan looked troubled.
He said, mainly just asking if you could help with something.
The outer fortress walls have been pretty much destroyed. A construction crew got trapped outside. There's a coastal giant lurking in that area. We've already sent a team over, but haven't received any news yet. He handed me a map. Danger zones were marked in red pen. I pointed at the blacked out spot in the middle. Asked, "What is this place?" Lin Baikuan's face instantly went pale.
His lips trembling.
He replied, "There's a terrifying creature lurking there. It looks like an octopus, within 20 kilometers around it. Its tentacles have woven a web of flesh." A hint of interest flashed in my eyes. Agreed happily, "All right. Leave this to me." Lin Baikuan breathed a sigh of relief. He said, "These 4 are my men. They've met the engineering crew. You can take them along." I turned to Chu Kwang, saying, "As soon as it's daylight, take Guanhu and Zhang Feng with you, and these 4 men to rescue the engineering team. You must bring them into the fortress before night falls." Baikuan asked, "What about you?" I chuckled softly, my eyes filled with fervent fighting spirit. Of course I'm going to meet that so-called terrifying creature.
Inside the fortress.
Zhuke was anxiously dialing her brother's phone number. This was already the 10th time. Still, no one answered. Just as he was about to lose hope, his phone suddenly rang. Zhuke hastily picked up the call.
Hearing his brother's clear voice,
he finally felt relieved. Xiao Yuhang said, "Sis, I heard the fortress is accepting people now. Can you get me in?" Zhuke asked, "Did you sign a contract?" Xiao Yuhang replied, "No." Zhuke paused for a moment and said, "Stay where you are. I'll come get you tomorrow." Hung up the phone. Xiao Yuhang looked up and looked at Rikshasa woman flatteringly. "Sis, how did I do?" Rikshasa woman chuckled and said, "Not bad. Kid, you even tricked your own sister." Xiao Yuhang grumbled, "What's the use of having a real sister? She still ditched me and ran when disaster struck." Rikshasa woman walked out of the room. Zhang Luochen and the others immediately surrounded her and asked, "How did it go?" Rikshasa woman nodded. Everything went smoothly. "Zhuke will come tomorrow. You all need to get ready. I definitely don't want our plan to fail again." Zhang Luochen looked at Rikshasa woman with a strange look, but quickly returned to normal. He knew very well, this woman is definitely not to be messed with. Dian Wang clapped his hands and laughed. "Nice. That's our girl." The others also looked increasingly confident. 9 a.m. Daylight finally broke. But now there are only 3 hours of daylight. After 12, darkness would fall once more. I looked at the fully equipped group and said, "Let's go. Follow me. We're headed in the same direction for the first half." I'm extremely fast. Guanhu and Zhang Feng kept close behind me. The other 4 official Ultra Beast warriors were struggling and fell behind us by a distance. When we reached the first red dot on the map, I stopped and said, "Be careful. If anything happens, call me right away." Guanhu nodded. "Don't worry. The giants don't come out during the day. We can handle this minor task." Meanwhile, my appearance quickly spread across the entire Ultra Beast network. Many people were curious where I was rushing off to. Some even had ill intentions. They thought any area blocked by the military must have good stuff, so they all started heading in my direction. Of course I saw the discussions online, and I also noticed the few Ultra Beast warriors following behind me. Their greed was obvious. I snorted. Good advice can't help. The damned, since they insist on seeking death. I had no need to warn them. I sped up and flew ahead. Suddenly, a loud boom erupted. A lightning bolt as thick as a barrel struck the building ahead. At that instant, I saw tens of thousands of thick tentacles reach out, then quickly retract again. These tentacles were much thicker than Crimson Eyes. It really was just like Lin Baikuin said, like a giant octopus. The people behind me saw it too, and stopped in fear. A terrifying aura instantly spread. We had entered the octopus's domain. For some reason, I couldn't shake the feeling that this creature felt oddly familiar. What the hell is that? One of the ultra beast men stepped back in fear. His voice was trembling. Beside him, the Jinjikai woman scoffed. What are you scared of? Isn't Boss Jiyu here? She curled her lips into a mocking smile. In the next second, the heavens seemed to collapse. Thunder crashed down like a waterfall. All the tentacles lurking underground burst out, their pink bodies covered in slimy fluid, emitting a nauseating stench. A few slower ones were nearly knocked out by the smell, almost stumbling over. The octopus seemed to catch the scent of the living. A tentacle whipped fiercely towards Jinjikai. Jinkai dodged and stabbed her feather dagger fiercely into the tentacle, cutting it clean off. The others quickly reacted as well, grabbing their weapons and fighting back against the tentacles. However, the severe tentacles regrew almost instantly and turned purple, with barbs sprouting all over. Their regeneration speed is even faster than the rate at which we cut them down. Damn it, these tentacles just won't get cut through no matter what. If this keeps up, we're all going to die here. Jinjikai is terrified. He keeps backing away. They quickly send out distress signals on the Ultra Beast web. But they don't realize this whole area has already been sealed off by a transparent barrier. No one inside can get out, and no one outside can get in. The Ultra Beast fighters rushing over from outside discover that whenever they approach the barrier, their powers are gradually drained away. I'm standing on the highest rooftop, face to face with the huge eyeball atop the octopus's head. We stared at each other for 20 minutes. That eyeball is exactly like the crimson eye I killed before. I give a soft laugh. So it's an old friend, huh? I finally get it now. The crimson eye isn't actually an independent creature. It's a parasite. Even if its body is blown apart and the crystal core is dug out, it can still resurrect itself by parasitizing another organism. The Ultra Beast fighters nearby are completely tormented, half kneeling and urgently begging Mr. Jiyu for help. Save us. I didn't move at all. If it weren't for their own greed, they wouldn't have ended up like this. I'm no saint. People so determined to seek death don't deserve my help. The crimson eye attacks first. Countless crimson threads crackling with electricity shoot out from the eyeball, coming straight at me. I stand perfectly still, never losing my smile. When those threads get about a meter close, they're blocked by a white mist swirling around me. They can't get any closer. The two forces keep clashing. The threads keep snapping apart, scattering all over the ground. The crimson eye lets out a furious roar. Suddenly, countless giants with crimson eyes burst out from underground and charge straight at me. They don't even glance at the other Ultra Beast fighters nearby. Not a single look. I'm their only target. Now that's interesting. I smile, my Cheonchi Knight Spear suddenly appearing in my hand. It's wreathed in raging fire. God-slaying skill, heavenly rift. I slowly raise my hand, and thousands of flaming pillars rain down from the sky. A massive crimson vortex opens up above, even pulling in the lightning flashing through the sky. Honki steps out of the flames, completely engulfed in fire, looking like the very embodiment of flames. A sea of fire sweeps across the land. The tentacles on the ground sizzle and smoke as they burn, turning to ash in the blink of an eye. With my spear in hand, led by Cheonchi, I charge at the octopus behemoth like a dragon bathed in flames. With a powerful thrust, I stab straight at the crimson eye. The octopus behemoth tries to back away, but its massive body is far too large. It barely manages to budge, but I've already reached it. I say flatly, last time I let you escape, but this time you're staying put. Lightning fire erupts from my spear with unstoppable force, instantly blasting through the octopus's massive head. The crimson eye immediately detaches, trying to escape. But a black dragon on my shoulder chases right after, diving into the crimson eye within 2 seconds. The crimson eye lets out a strange howl. Its golden pupil dims. The black dragon swallows the entire crimson eye whole, as its crystal core is absorbed into new strength. A flash of white light follows, and the black dragon doubles in size. I feel power surging through my body, a glint of light in my eyes. Black Dragon Kai has finally advanced to level 5. Too bad there's only one crystal core, so the other two Ultra Beasts are still stuck at level 4. As the octopus behemoth crashes to the ground, the barrier around us wavers a few times, then fully vanishes. The Ultra Beast fighters outside rush in all at once, staring in shock at the devastated scene and the huge octopus corpse. They're all stunned. Was this Mr. Jiu's doing? That's insane. As expected of the Black Dragon boss. I don't care at all about their praise. I glance at them indifferently, then leave, walking on the air. Mission accomplished. Let the rest of this mess be handled by the military. The military has cameras set up at every vantage point, running 24/7, as well as satellite surveillance. Although most of the cameras near the octopus were smashed, one managed to survive. Footage of my battle was transmitted clearly to Lin Baikuan's screen. The 4 Ultra Beast fighters in military uniform behind him are all staring wide-eyed in disbelief. An Ice Lake Kai fighter can't help but ask, "Who is that person really? How can someone unleash such incredible power?" Lin Baikuan sighs deeply, drumming his fingers on the table, and says seriously, "See that biggest shelter outside the city? He paid for it to be built." The Ice Lake Kai fighter looks stunned. Lin Baikuan simply says,
He's Yuki of the Shinshin group.
The office falls silent. A moment later, Lin Baikuan asks, "Has the engineering team returned yet?" A Foxfire Kai woman nods. They've been brought back safely. Only a few people suffered minor injuries, and now they're already in the underground lab. Lin Baikuan shakes his head. "I'm not going right now. Send more people to protect them. The engineering team is humanity's hope for the future." At the base, Vermilion Bird is staring at his phone, distracted. Online, everyone is buzzing about me, but he doesn't care at all. His mind is completely consumed with worry for his younger brother.
He opens the Ultra Beast web.
And when he sees the news of me taking down the octopus behemoth, his pupils suddenly contract. The coordinates listed in the news are exactly the same as the ones his brother sent him. Vermilion Bird's hands tremble. He can't sit still anymore. He immediately gets up and flies toward the location on the map. There are almost no giants tonight. He didn't encounter a single one on the way. But instead of reassuring him, this strange calm makes his anxiety even worse. The location is in ruins. The military already took the octopus's corpse away. Vermilion Bird stops at the center point, hands shaking as he dials his brother's number. The call is picked up almost immediately. Zhao Yuhang's voice comes through, "Sis. I'm at the Golden Tower. Wait for me downstairs."
He hangs up before Vermilion Bird can say anything else,
giving him no chance to ask questions. Vermilion Bird frowns and heads for the ruined Golden Tower. There are severed limbs everywhere at the bottom of the building, and the air reeks of blood. Just as he reaches the front, a strange woman's voice comes from above. "You really are obedient. Your brother tells you to come, and so you do." Vermilion Bird looks up and sees Rikshasa woman standing at the only intact window on the floor. Her face is full of mockery. Zhao Yuhang's head pokes out next to her, looking absolutely miserable. Vermilion Bird clenches his fists and angrily shouts, "What do you people want?" Rikshasa girl let out a light laugh. Very simple. "As long as you help us with one thing, I'll let your brother go." At that moment, Lu Yuan poked his head out. His eyes were full of resentment. "How could you not recognize me after just half a day? You don't know me anymore. You betrayed me first." He tossed down a small black device. "During tomorrow night's battle, place this on Jiuki. I'll give you 5 minutes to think it over." Zhuke looked conflicted, caught in a dilemma. On one side is her own younger brother. On the other is me, who once helped her. No matter which side she chooses, it seems like it's a dead end either way. Just as the time was about to run out, suddenly a deafening explosion rang out. The ground started shaking violently. Buildings were on the verge of collapsing. A huge crack opened up in front of Juk. It kept extending in both directions. The crack was several kilometers wide. It was bottomless. And it was much bigger than the previous 3. Rakshasa girl was stunned as well. How did another crack just suddenly appear? Juk snapped back. She immediately contacted me. At this time, I was sitting in the conference room. Si Yu Kwang, Su Muyao and others were seated on both sides. We were in the middle of discussing our next defensive plans. Suddenly, I received an urgent message from Juk. With a serious expression, I said, Zhao Yufei just sent me a message. A new crack opened at the spot where Octopus died. Everyone was stunned. Si Chu Kwang was the first to react. Cracks are where the giants climb out. I nodded. Su Miao frowned deeply. There are already 3 cracks. How did another one just appear out of nowhere? I paused for a moment in silence. Standing up, I said, given the situation now, we have to go check it out. Only then will we know what's happened. Outside the Golden Tower, Juk listened as the sounds from the crack. The screeching howls got closer and closer. She hurriedly stepped back a few paces. The sound was extremely piercing, as if it could pierce right through your eardrums. Countless pale, shriveled, long, twig-like arms were slowly reaching out from the pitch-black crack. The 4th crack split the entire Golden Tower in 2. In the abyss-like darkness, sharp howls echoed across the skies. One by one, wobbly little bodies climbed up. They had baby heads, but their arms were as long as their bodies. Purple-gray skin bulged with veins. Their crimson eyes stared fiercely at everything around them. Juk gasped, stunned. She frantically stepped back several more steps. Just then, the ruins suddenly collapsed. Rakshasa girl and Lu Yuan were forced onto the ground. Zhao Yuhang huddled and trembled in a corner, terrified. Rakshasa girl swung her barbed whip. With one lash, she ripped a huge chunk of flesh from a monster. Lu Yuan wielded his touty sword. A single energy wave could slice a monster in half. They were both renowned powerhouses on the rankings. Handling these monsters wasn't too difficult for them. They took a deep breath, unleashed their own holy mark. The holy mark, reborn from fire. A giant firebird flew out from the side. Its feathers turned into countless sharp blades. The surrounding monsters were instantly burned to ashes. But monsters kept coming out of the crack, endlessly crawling out. It seemed never-ending. Soon, the sounds of battle attracted nearby super beast warriors. They were annoyed they couldn't find any giants. Seeing so many monsters, they suddenly became excited. Ching Snake Kai Man was the first to rush in. The others all joined the fight as well. This scene quickly spread across the Super Beast network. More and more Super Beast warriors came to assist. At that moment, I was assigning tasks in the conference room. I looked at Su Muyao and said calmly, "You take Zhang Feng with you and scout the terrain first. No need to join the battle." Su Muyao nodded and promised to complete the task. I turned to Chu Kwang and said, "You take the others and help kill the giants." Chu Kwang cracked his knuckles, ready for action. "You got it. What about you?" he asked. I replied, "I have some other things to take care of. Once you finish the mission, regroup here." With that, I left the conference room. Qizhao, sent by Lin Baikuan, was already waiting outside. He led me through several checkpoints, and we arrived at the underground lab. Before I could even enter, I heard an intense argument coming from inside. An elderly man shouted angrily, "I told you a long time ago, this is no place to build a fortress. So what do we do now?" Lin Baikuan tried to calm him down. "Please, calm down first. This is my responsibility." Qizhao pushed the door open. He and I walked in. Lin Baikuan quickly came over and introduced, "Sir, this is Jiyu Qi."
He's the black dragon on the Super Beast network.
Old Sun looked me up and down and said, "I know who you are. That octopus, it was you who took care of it, right?" I nodded. "That's right." "Based on what you just said, is there more to this fissure than we know?" The old man sighed heavily. He took out a blueprint and said, during the construction of the fortress. At 200 meters underground, we discovered a deep, bottomless cavern. The fissure that split open now happens to be right where that cavern was. I frowned deeply. So this fissure had existed all along. Lin Baiquan's face was filled with regret. It's my fault. The construction was under a tight schedule, so I told them to fill the cavern with cement. I never expected it would be useless. I patted him on the shoulder and said, the fissure can't be fixed anymore. For now, all we can do is try to seal it off or evacuate the people. Old Sun said in a grave tone, there's one more thing. Our radar picked up a huge heart beating underground. There's a good chance that's where these monsters' main body is hiding. Lin Baiquan's eyes lit up. Then all we have to do is kill the main body, he said. And this fissure will no longer be a threat. Old Sun nodded. That's right. But killing the main body is easier said than done. Lin Baiquan turned to look at me, eyes full of pleading. Jiu, I'm afraid only you can do this. I pondered for a moment. The main body's crystal core probably contains a tremendous amount of energy, enough for both my Qilin and Qiongqi super beasts to evolve at the same time. I said calmly, leave it to me. Everyone let out a sigh of relief. Old Sun patted me on the shoulder with approval. You're truly the stabilizing force of Dragon Nation. Lin Baiquan said, I'll assign my personal guard team to go down there with you. I didn't refuse. This really isn't something to be taken lightly. Back at my own base, Old Hay was lazily sprawled on the sofa. He glanced up at me and said, You're heading down beneath that fissure. I nodded. Old Hay warned me sternly, you need to be careful. If a fourth fissure can appear, there could be even more. It's not just the main body down there. There could also be even more terrifying creatures lurking. I chuckled softly, a glint of wild battle intent flashing in my eyes. Since they're going to come out sooner or later, we might as well deal with them now. Old Hay said nothing more, but just stared at me. Meanwhile, Su Muyao and Zhang Feng had already reached the center of the fissure. The area was piled with monster corpses. Green blood had stained the ground dark green. The air was saturated with a nauseating stench. Su Muyao stared into the bottomless chasm, a strange sense of fear welling up inside.
He quickly averted his gaze
And began surveying the terrain with Zhang Feng. Su Muyao and Zhang Feng held measuring tools and an infrared scanner. They quietly approached the edge of the fissure. Cautiously, they lowered the scanner into the fissure. Everything seemed fine at first, but the deeper it went, the more unstable it became. Suddenly, a piercing static screech erupted. The scanner went completely out of control and plummeted. Huge bursts of static exploded in their headphones. Su Muyao quickly ripped off the headphones, blood already streaming from his eardrums. Zhang Feng asked with concern, Are you all right? Su Muyao shook his head. I'm fine. There's something down there, disrupting the magnetic field. Our gear is useless. The two were left with no choice but to head back for now. When Chu Kuang and the others arrived, the monsters on the ground had already been wiped out. All that was left was bubbling green slime everywhere. The air reeked of that same nauseating stench. Chu Kuang sighed. Looks like we're too late, he said. Guan Hu chuckled. These folks all came out here for the golden box. With so many monsters for once, of course they wanted a good fight. Chu Kuang nodded. Guess there's nothing for us to do, he said. Let's head back. Just then, a sudden surge of static electricity rang out. Chu Kuang and his team's faces turned grave. Even the other Super Beast warriors were all clutching their heads and collapsing to the ground. That sound seemed to echo directly in their minds. Zhao Meng's face changed dramatically. He pointed at the fissure. Something's about to come out. A giant black hand reached out of the fissure, casting a huge shadow in an instant. Then another hand appeared, followed by a bald, shiny head. The giant was as massive as a mountain. Its tongue lashed out, sweeping up a nearby building, swallowing the people inside in one gulp. It licked its blood-red tongue, greedy eyes fixed on the super beast warriors present. A shrill alarm blared throughout the official fortress. Lin Baikuan stared at the giant on the screen, eyes bloodshot. "How is this possible?" he said. "How could the main body appear early? Wasn't it supposed to be below 1,000 meters?" "That's not necessary," my voice called out from behind them. Dressed in a black suit, I walked slowly into the office, my eyes fixed on the main body on the screen. Old Hay had told me the news right away. I straightened my clothes and said, "Go keep the civilians in the base calm. I'll handle this." The Golden Tower had already collapsed completely, turning into a pile of ruins. Countless super beast warriors struggled in the rubble, because as long as the main body lives, these giants will never truly die. Even if you cut off their heads, they'll grow back in half a minute. Si Chu Kuang viciously chopped off a giant's head, breathing hard and cursing. "Damn it, these giants never end." Guan Hu was utterly exhausted too. "They're even trickier than the evolved giants," he said. Zhuge fought bravely, while frantically searching the ruins for any sign of her brother. Luosha Girl and Lu Yuan were tangled up with giants too, completely unable to spare attention elsewhere. In their eyes, Xiao Yuhang was just another pawn in the plan. His death didn't matter much to them. By the time I arrived, I saw a true hell on earth. The bodies of weaker super beast warriors were strewn everywhere, the smell of blood chokingly strong. Si Hu Kuang saw me, and a trace of joy flashed in his eyes. A cold voice rang out in this desolate scene, and a set of dragon-patterned armor, wreathed in black lightning, appeared and instantly covered my body. The 5th-level black dragon armor looked even more imposing than before.
Thick black lightning crackled on the surface of the armor.
It was as if I was wearing the thunder itself. Qianqi Knight Divine Spear Armament. I shouted angrily. A dark golden spear appeared in my hand. The spear's edge was mighty. Qianqi's eyes flickered with red and black flames. Looking closely, it seemed you could even see the scarlet pupils turning. Countless flames crashed to the ground like meteors. The giants gathered around the core instantly turned to ash. The sky was lit up by the flames as if it were broad daylight. Everything around seemed as bright as day. Everyone in the base stared at the screen in shock. Did I see that right? All the giants were killed with just one move. So this is Black Dragon's true power? That's terrifying. Those who were originally in despair now saw hope burning in their eyes again. Everyone was moved to tears of excitement, staring intensely at the figure standing among the flames on the screen. The shower of sparks amazed everyone. The death of the giant severely weakened the core. It angrily swung its massive arm at me. With a light jump, I dodged the attack. But when the core spawns giants, its lower body is immobile. That's really its fatal weakness. I let out a small laugh. 2 black dragons appeared on my shoulders and I ordered, "Go." The 2 black dragons shot out like arrows off a string and wrapped around the core's arms. The core was spun around helplessly, roaring in anger again and again. More giants crawled out from its stomach. But before they could get close, they were incinerated into ashes by Cheonqi's flames. I curled my lips in disdain. I said, "Wasn't the core supposed to be really strong? Seems pretty unimpressive now." Inside the official base, Lin Baikuan watched the screen with a heavy expression. Looking at Elder Sun, he said, "Doesn't it seem like this was settled too easily?" Elder Sun sighed and said, "Just watch. He hasn't even started fighting for real." Inside Xingshen base, Lao He suddenly looked up at the sky. Strange gray clouds filled the sky, hazy, almost like mist. Just then, a bolt of lightning as thick as a barrel struck down from the sky, striking the core directly. Not only was the core not reduced to ashes, its entire body became covered in indestructible scales. Its body quickly shrank to the size of an ordinary giant. Its eyes turned into glowing orbs of crackling electricity. Si Hu Kuang exclaimed, "How is this possible?" "It actually absorbed the power of lightning," I said calmly. "So this is your true form." Lightning giant. Lightning. The giant drew out a lightning whip over 10 meters long and lashed it at me fiercely. The whip struck the ground, instantly blasting a trench over 5 meters deep. I stood there motionless. The next second, a massive black dragon descended from the sky, blocking the lightning with its head. God-slaying technique, heaven's wrath, earth's destruction. I shouted angrily. The lightning in the sky was all sucked up by a blood-red maw. Xiongqi stuck its head out from the dark clouds, facing the black dragon on the ground, one above and one below. They charged toward the thunder giant at the same time. Crack, snap. The thunder giant's scales, under the assault of the two forces, shattered one after another. I chuckled softly. I haven't even used my full strength yet. With a wave of my hand, the thunder giant's body was instantly torn to pieces. A purple crystal core, the size of a fingertip, floated in the air. It was still coursing with lightning inside. Looks like the stronger the giant, the smaller its crystal core. Without hesitation, I absorbed the core completely. Thunderous cheers erupted from every base. Thank goodness! We're not going to die! President Jiyu really is our savior. I slowly landed next to Chu Kuang. Su Miao and Zhao Yufei walked over as well. Zhao Yufei looked conflicted. He wanted to say something but hesitated. I said calmly, if you want to ask something, just say it. Zhao Yufei clenched his fist and said, President Jiyu, I know the official base still has spots. Could you arrange one for my younger brother? I raised my eyebrows. I looked at the unconscious Zhao Yuhang behind him. I remember he and Rikshasa girl Lu Yuan were together. Are you sure you want him in the base? Zhao Yufei gritted his teeth and said, he's my only family after all. I don't want him to die at the hands of giants. I said silently, someone who would even betray their own sister. What use is there to keep them around? Kill him. Su Miao nodded, understood. Zhao Yufei wanted to plead again, but my cold stare made him back down. He clenched his jaw and handed Zhao Yuhang over to Su Miao. I didn't return to the official base, but went back to my own place first. Lao He was lazily lying on the sofa.
He said the thunder giant is just the beginning.
The second evolution will happen soon. The fifth rift will also appear along with it. I frowned. Isn't this evolution happening too quickly? Lao He yawned and said, it was supposed to be once a month. But since you killed the Scarlet Eye, the second evolution was skipped entirely. Now we've moved directly into the third round. I was deep in thought. So what you're saying is, the closer we get to... Lao He responded with a grunt and said nothing more. At this moment, Lin Baikuan messaged me, inviting me to the official base. I got up and headed over. Lin Baikuan and Old Sun were already waiting in the meeting room. Lin Baikuan greeted me with a big laugh. I knew you could handle it. The Thunder Giant, I said calmly. So, what do you want from me? Old Sun pulled out some files and said, on the right side of wall 1, we found another potential rift site. It's the largest chemical district in the Dragon Nation, with more than 30 factories. If a rift opens there, and the chemical wastewater leaks, the consequences would be unthinkable. I frowned. This is indeed a huge problem. Radioactive wastewater won't just pollute the land. If it flows into the sea, it'll cause acid rain and wipe out the crops. Old Sun smiled slightly and said, I have an idea. Move the wastewater to other reservoirs in advance. I interrupted, no need for extra reservoirs. Just channel it directly into the rift. Lin Baikuan looked puzzled, but wouldn't that pollute the land? I chuckled, don't worry about that. I have my own way to handle it. You have at most 10 days. The fifth rift will appear by then. You need to channel all the wastewater into the rift within the next 6 to 7 days. Lin Baikuan saw my confident look and sighed helplessly. All right, what materials do you need? Just let us know. I left the official base's meeting room. Afternoon sunlight filtered through the shattered glass, spilling across my body, yet I couldn't feel any warmth at all. There's only about 3 hours of daylight left now. After 12 noon, darkness will sweep over like a tide, engulfing the entire world. Lin Baikuan and Old Sun's words echoed in my ears. More than 30 factories in the chemical district are storing over 1 million tons of highly toxic chemical wastewater. If a rift opens there, the consequences would be unimaginable. But I already had a bold plan in mind. If it works, not only will it solve the wastewater problem, it'll also give those giants crawling out of the rift a little surprise. Back at the mined fortress, I immediately called all the core members for a meeting. Si Chu Kuang, Su Miao, Zhao Yufei, Guanhu, Zhang Feng, Zhou Meng, and others lined up on either side. Each wore a solemn expression. After these battles in recent days, they had all grown into independent powerhouses. But facing the upcoming third evolution, no one dared to let their guard down. I explained the chemical district situation and my plan, in simple terms. Then I looked at Chu Kuang and said, Chu Kuang, you take Guanhu, Zhang Feng, and Zhao Meng. Lead 5,000 super beast warriors to the chemical district and help the authorities move the wastewater. Remember, you must finish everything within 6 days. Chu Kuang shot up from his seat, thumped his chest, and said, Don't worry, boss. We'll get it done. I turned to Su Miao and said, Miao, you'll be in charge of coordinating supplies and personnel, making sure the front line gets all the support they need. At the same time, reinforce the fortress defenses, especially the energy systems and the storage warehouses. Absolutely no mistakes allowed. Su Miao nodded, yes. I'll start arranging everything now. Finally, I turned to Zhao Yufei and said, Vermilion Bird, you lead your team to collect intel. Keep a close eye on Zhang Ruosheng and the others. I have a feeling they won't just let things go this easily. They're bound to cause trouble amidst the chaos. Guilt flashed in Zhao Yufei's eyes, and he said softly, President Jiyu, I'm sorry, this is all because of me. I waved my hand, cutting him off. Let the past stay in the past. Your brother's situation isn't your fault. But remember this, from now on, the mine group is your family, and we're all your family now. Zhao Yufei looked up, tears welling in his eyes, and nodded firmly. After the meeting, everyone leapt into action. The mine fortress functioned like a finely tuned machine, working at full speed. I stood on the top floor of the mine tower watching the busy crowd below, yet feeling no sense of relief. Lao He had said, the third evolution giants would be many times stronger than before, and even more terrifying creatures would emerge from below ground. I walked over to the sofa, looked at Lao He, who was lying there lazily, and said, Lao He, what exactly are those void beasts you mentioned? Lao He raised his head, a complicated look flashing in his small eyes. He was silent for a while, then finally said, You don't need to know that yet. When the time comes, I'll tell you myself. What you need to do right now is get stronger as soon as possible. The 5 elements kill-in armor is still stuck at level 4. That's not going to cut it. I frowned. I want to get stronger too. But regular giant's crystal cores just aren't enough. Even that purple core from the thunder giant earlier only managed to upgrade the black dragon armor to level 5. Old Hay chuckled and said, Don't worry just yet. Something incredibly valuable will soon land right at our doorstep. The thing inside the 5th rift. It's way better than all that garbage before. I wanted to ask more, but Old Hay had already closed his eyes and started snoring. I shook my head helplessly. I walked to the window and looked out at the distant sky. The outline of blood was already faintly visible.
It looked like a giant eye.
Coldly gazing at this devastated world. Over the next few days, everything went very smoothly. Si Shu Fang and the others worked around the clock in the chemical district. The authorities also sent a large number of engineers and super beast warriors to assist. Over 1 million tons of chemical wastewater, through a series of newly laid pipelines, were continuously pumped into the giant reservoir pits that had been dug in advance. But beneath the calm surface, an undercurrent was surging. According to Zhao Yufei's intel, Zhang Luosheng and the others had been very active lately. Not only did they recruit a large number of stragglers, they'd also secretly joined forces with several other groups dissatisfied with me. They're colluding in secret, and their total numbers have already exceeded 20,000 people. They're even spreading rumors on the Super Beast network, saying that, in order to wipe out the giants, I'm willing to sacrifice all the survivors from the chemical zone. Some super beast warriors who don't know the truth have started to resent me. Su Miao also reported to me. Lately, many suspicious people have been lurking around the fortress. It seems they're surveying the terrain, looking for weak spots in the fortress defenses. After listening to these reports, a cold smile curled at the corner of my mouth. Zhang Luocheng and his crew just don't know when to quit. Since they're so eager to die, I'll give them what they want. On the night of the 6th day, the night before the 5th rift was predicted to appear, just as I had forecasted, I stood on the rooftop of New God Tower, looking toward the distant chemical district. The lights there were blazing, as bright as day. Si Chu Kuang had just sent word. All the wastewater had been relocated. We're just waiting for the rift to open. Then we can release the water. Just then, Old Hay suddenly spoke. My heart tightened. I immediately looked toward the chemical district. The ground over there began to tremble violently. One gigantic crack after another started to spread out like a spider web. Then a deafening boom shook the air, and the earth suddenly collapsed, forming a huge pit over 10 kilometers in diameter. Countless pillars of black light shot out from the pit into the sky, turning the night as bright as day. Then an endless horde of giants began climbing out of the pit. These giants were even bigger than any seen before. Their average height was over 50 meters. Their skin was pitch black, covered in thick layers of keratin, looking completely indestructible. Open the gates, I ordered into the communicator. At my command, the sluice gates that had been built in advance thundered open. Over 1 million tons of toxic chemical wastewater, like a black torrent, roared toward the giant pit. A shocking scene played out. Just as the newly emerged giants climbed out of the pit and touched the chemical waste, they immediately let out heartbreaking screams. Their skin started to rot and dissolve at a visible speed, and in just a few seconds, they turned into piles of green slime. We did it! Si Hu Kuang's excited voice came through the communicator. But I didn't relax at all, because I knew things were never that simple. Sure enough, not long after, a terrifying aura suddenly burst from the pit. Several even larger giants started climbing out of the pit. Their skin was bright green, shimmering with a metallic luster. Not only were these giants immune to chemical waste, they were actually absorbing the radiation and chemicals from the wastewater. Their bodies were getting bigger and bigger. They're radiation giants, Old Hay said gravely. Be careful. These guys are even stronger than thunder giants. Plus, their attacks are highly radioactive. If you get hit, even super beast armor will corrode. I nodded, getting ready to head to the chemical district, when Sumuyo's anxious voice suddenly came through the communicator. We've got trouble. The fortress is under attack. A large number of unidentified super beast warriors are assaulting the west and north gates. They're packing heavy firepower. We can't hold much longer. My heart sank. Just as I suspected, Zhang Luocheng and his group have made their move. Si Q Kuang, take half the team and keep clearing out the radiation giants. The rest follow me back to the fortress. I ordered into the communicator. Big brother, that won't work. There are more and more radiation giants here. We are short-handed, Si Shu Kuang said anxiously. Don't worry, I'll be back soon. I hung up the communication after saying that. Then I transformed into a streak of black lightning and sped towards the direction of the mined fortress. When I rushed back to the mined fortress, the battle had already entered a fever pitch. The fortifications of the west and north gates had already been mostly destroyed. Countless super beast warriors surged toward the fortress like a tide. Zhang Luoshen, Lu Yuan, Rikshasa, Electric King, and others stood on a distant skyscraper, watching the battle coldly. Seeing me return, the attacking super beast warriors were all so terrified that they stopped in their tracks, retreating one after another. Seeing this, Zhang Luochen immediately shouted, "Everyone, don't be afraid. Jiuqi is only one person. I have over 20,000 people. We can wear him down to death. As long as we kill him, all the supplies and women in the mined fortress will be ours. Under his instigation, those super beast warriors regained their courage and charged toward the fortress once again. A cold light flashed in my eyes. I growled, "Black Dragon Armor Armament." With a loud clang, the level 5 Black Dragon armor instantly covered my body. Thick black lightning crackled on the surface of the armor. Holding the Xiongqi Divine Spear, I charged into the enemy crowd like a streak of black lightning. God-slaying Chronicle, Thunder Dragon's Wrath. I let out a furious roar. The 2 black dragons behind me roared and charged out, rampaging through the enemy crowd. Black lightning fell like raindrops. Every bolt of lightning could take the lives of several super beast warriors. Those originally aggressive super beast warriors were as vulnerable as ants before me. Their attacks hit the black dragon armor, unable to leave even a single white mark. With a casual thrust of my spear, I could skewer several people like a candied hawthorn stick. In just a few minutes, thousands of super beast warriors fell under my spear. The remaining people were scared out of their wits, no longer daring to step forward, and turned to flee one after another. Trash, a bunch of trash. Zhang Luoken's face turned livid with rage. He roared, "Lu Yuan, Rakshasa, Electric King. Let's go together. I don't believe that the 4 of us combined can't beat him alone." After saying that, he turned into a golden light and charged toward me. Lu Yuan, Rakshasa, and the Electric King followed closely behind, launching attacks at me from 4 different directions. Zhang Luoshan held the Dragon Emperor Holy Sword, radiating thousands of golden lights. With one slash, a golden sword beam hundreds of feet long cleaved down toward my head. Lu Yuan summoned the Taudi giant beast, opening its bloody maw, attempting to swallow me in one gulp. Rakshasa brandished a barbed long whip, which coiled toward my limbs like a venomous snake. The Electric King pressed his palms together, and a bolt of blue lightning as thick as a bucket struck toward me. Facing the joint attack of the 4, my expression remained unchanged. I gave a cold snort and slammed the Qiongqi Divine Spear into the ground. 5-element Kirin armor, armament, Qiongqi armor, armament. With my 2 furious roars, the other 2 beast rings lit up simultaneously. A set of Kirin armor flowing with 5 colors, and a set of dark gold Qiongqi armor covered the black dragon armor like a tide. The 3 sets of armor merged perfectly, forming an unprecedented tricolored armor. A terrifying aura erupted from my body. The clouds in the sky shifted color, with thunder and lightning. In the face of this aura, the attacks of Zhang Luoken's group were as fragile as paper, and disintegrated instantly. How is this possible? Zhang Luoken's eyes widened, looking at me with a face full of disbelief. How can you possibly control 3 super beast armors at once? This is absolutely impossible. I slowly raised my head, my eyes under the tricolored armor cold as frost. Nothing is impossible. You frogs at the bottom of a well will never be able to understand true power. After saying that, my figure flashed, and I instantly appeared in front of the Electric King. Before the Electric King could react, I smashed a punch into his chest. His super beast armor shattered instantly, and he flew out like a broken kite, slamming heavily onto the ground, vomiting blood. It was clear he wouldn't survive. Electric King! Rakshasa cried out in alarm, a hint of fear flashing in her eyes. She turned around, wanting to flee, but how could I give her the chance? I gave a casual wave. A streak of black lightning shot out, instantly piercing through her heart. Rakshasa didn't even have time to scream before she fell to the ground, completely lifeless. In the blink of an eye, 2 of the 4 were dead. Lu Yuan was scared out of his wits and turned to run. I snorted coldly, and the Qiongqi Divine Spear left my hand like a golden meteor, instantly catching up to Lu Yuan, piercing in from his back and coming out through his chest. Lu Yuan slowly collapsed. Before he died, he turned his head, his eyes filled with resentment and hatred. "Jiuqi, I won't let you go even as a ghost." I ignored his dying words. my gaze falling on the last one left, Zhang Luoshen. Zhang Luoshen was already trembling all over with fear. The Dragon Emperor Holy Sword in his hand was shaking non-stop. He looked at me, trembling. Jiyu. President Jiyu. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. Please spare me. I'm willing to serve you like an ox or a horse and be loyal to you forever. I walked toward him step by step and said coldly, now you know you're wrong? It's too late. For your own ambition, you didn't hesitate to sacrifice countless innocent lives and even wanted to blow up the chemical district to make everyone in Chengdu die with you. A person like you deserves to die 10,000 times over. Seeing that begging for mercy was useless, a flash of madness appeared in Zhang Luoken's eyes. He suddenly pulled out a remote control from his pocket, grinning savagely. Since I can't live, then let's all die together. I have already in the reservoir of the chemical district installed bombs. As long as I press this button, the remaining hundreds of thousands of tons of chemical wastewater will all leak out. All of Chengdu will become a dead land. I stopped in my tracks, a flash of killing intent in my eyes. You wouldn't dare. What wouldn't I dare? Zhang Luochen laughed maniacally. Jiu Qi, aren't you very powerful? Aren't you the savior? Now I give you a choice. Either you commit suicide, or I press the button and let everyone die with me. Just then, a red figure suddenly darted out from the side and snatched the remote from Zhang Luoken's hand. Peacock, what are you doing? Zhang Luoshen shouted in shock and anger. The woman in the peacock armor looked at Zhang Luoshen, her eyes full of disappointment and anger. Zhang Luoshen, I was truly blind to actually follow a lunatic like you. For your own ambition, how many people have you killed? I will never be an accomplice to you again. So Kong Kai Nuzi has long been dissatisfied with Zhang Luocheng's actions.
He simply never dared to rebel.
Just now, when he saw Zhang Luocheng trying to blow up the chemical zone, he finally couldn't stand it anymore. He made a move and seized the remote control. Zhang Luocheng was so angry he was shaking all over.
He roared, traitor.
I'll kill you. He raised the Dragon Emperor's sacred sword and swung it straight at Conk. I flashed in an instant, blocking Conk's way, and casually punched Zhang Luocheng in the face. Several of Zhang Luocheng's teeth went flying. He was sent flying backward and crashed to the ground. I walked over to him and stepped on his chest. I said coldly, the game is over. As I finished, I pressed down a little harder with my foot. There was a loud crack. Zhang Luocheng's chest was completely shattered, and he died instantly. With Zhang Luocheng's death, the rebellion was finally put down. Those mutant beast warriors who tried to escape, most of them were captured and brought back by Sumuyo's team. As for the truly evil ringleaders, I ordered their execution. But for those ordinary warriors who were deceived, I gave them a chance to redeem themselves. They were allowed to join the Neo-God Mutant Beast Corps to atone for their crimes with good deeds. Because Kong Kai Nuzi exposed Zhang Luocheng, he was treated with leniency. He also volunteered to join the new God group. I agreed, and assigned him to join Zhao Yufei in charge of intelligence. With the fortress crisis resolved, I immediately led my team to the chemical zone. When I arrived at the chemical zone, Xi Yuquang and the others were locked in a fierce battle. More and more mutant giants were showing up, and there were even a few that were over 100 meters tall. Although Xi Yuquang and the others fought desperately, they were already struggling to hold on. Let me help you, I shouted loudly, charging into the enemy ranks with the Nightbreaker Divine Spear. At that moment, I was able to skillfully use the power of the 3 fused mutant beast armors. I thrust my spear, and a wave of energy intertwined with 3 colors exploded forth, instantly slicing a giant mutant in half. When Xie Kwang and the others saw me, their morale soared. We fought side by side, slaying the mutant giants like cutting vegetables. After 3 hours of fierce fighting, we finally wiped out all the mutant giants. The entire chemical zone was reduced to a wasteland. In the air, There lingered a pungent mix of chemicals and blood. I stood at the edge of a huge crater, staring into its bottomless depths. But in my heart, I felt no relief. Old Hay once said, "There are even more terrifying creatures lurking below." Old Hay, can you tell me the truth now? I asked Old Hay on my shoulder. Old Hay was silent for a moment, then slowly spoke. "All right. Since you've made it this far, I suppose I should tell you everything. To be honest, I'm not a creature of this world. I come from a higher dimension. I'm a guardian of the universe. Our duty is to protect every planet from the invasion of void beasts. Void beasts are the most terrifying creatures in the universe. They feed on the life energy of entire planets, and whenever they arrive at a planet, they unleash the void, causing the planet's life forms to mutate and turning them into their vanguard. Then they descend in person and devour all life on the planet. The arrival of the blood energy waves is actually the sign that a void beast is about to come. Those giants are life forms altered by the void energy unleashed by void beasts, turning Blue Star's creatures into their vanguard. And mutants are Blue Star's native life forms, who, under the influence of void energy, undergo a positive evolution. I arrived on Blue Star 100 years ago and have been silently observing. 10 years ago I met you and realized you possessed the legendary Chaos physique. This kind of body allows you to wield multiple mutant beast armors and is the only one capable of defeating the void beasts. That's why I disguised myself as an old beggar and sent a part of myself to you. Then, through dream prophecies, I guided your growth step by step, preparing you for the coming disaster. The Mutant King was also founded by me to help humanity unite, to fight the giants together. Crimson Eye is the eye of the void beast. It can parasitize other life forms, collecting information on Blue Star. The Crimson Eye you killed before was just one of his clones. His true form is at the deepest part of this rift, connected to the main body of the void behemoth. The reason the giant's evolution speed has accelerated is that the void behemoth sensed your threat and launched the invasion early. Now, the main body of the void behemoth is about to break through the dimensional barrier. If he succeeds in descending, the blue planet will be completely destroyed. After hearing Old Black's words, I remained silent for a long time. So behind all of this, there was such a shocking secret hidden. I always thought I was just a lucky, ordinary person, but I never expected that I would carry the mission of saving the whole world. I took a deep breath, looked at Old Black and said, "So, what should I do now?" Old Black said solemnly, "You must enter the deepest part of the rift, find the main body of the void behemoth, and before it breaks through the dimensional barrier, completely destroy it. But this is extremely dangerous. Once you fail, not only will you die, the entire blue planet will be destroyed." I smiled, a flash of determination in my eyes. I have no choice. If I don't go, everyone will die. To protect this world, to protect the people I care about, I must go. Old Black looked at me, a hint of approval flashing in his eyes. Good, as expected of the one I chose. I will help you open the passage to where the void behemoth's body is located. The rest will be up to you. After saying that, Old Black jumped down from my shoulder, suspended in midair. His body began to emit a dazzling light, becoming brighter and brighter, finally turning into a small orb of light. Hey kid, remember, no matter what difficulties you face, do not give up. The potential of the chaos body is infinite. As long as you believe in yourself, you will surely defeat the void behemoth. As Old Black's voice faded, the light orb charged fiercely into the deep pit, exploding at the deepest part of the rift, forming a massive gate of light. This is the passage to where the void behemoth's body is. Remember, you only have 1 hour. The passage will close in 1 hour. Old Black's voice echoed in my mind. I nodded, turned back to look at Chu Kwang and the others. They were all looking at me with worried eyes. Big brother, be careful, Chu Kwang said in a heavy voice. Don't worry, I'll be back soon. I smiled, then turned and leaped into the gate of light. Passing through the gate of light, I arrived in a bizarre space. There was no sky, no ground, only distorted light and chaotic energy everywhere. A suffocating pressure came from all directions, making it almost impossible for me to breathe. In the center of the space floated an unimaginably large black fleshy sphere. This sphere was over 10 kilometers in diameter, its surface covered with countless crimson eyes. This was the true body of the void behemoth. Above the fleshy sphere, there was a massive rift. On the other side of the rift was endless darkness. Countless streams of black energy surged from the rift, pouring into the body of the void behemoth. Clearly, the void behemoth was using this rift to absorb energy from the void, preparing to break through the dimensional barrier. Seeing me enter, all the eyes on the void behemoth's body looked at me in unison. A cold, evil thought, filled with the aura of destruction, entered my mind. Puny human, you actually dared to intrude upon my domain. Since you are here, then become my nourishment. Following this thought, countless black tentacles extended from the fleshy sphere, attacking me like venomous snakes. I didn't dare to be careless, and immediately boosted the power of the 3 super beast armors to their limit. Tricolored light flowed over my body, forming a solid energy shield. Asterisk clang 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 asterisk. The black tentacles lashed violently against the energy shield, making deafeningly loud noises. The energy shield shook violently, and cracks began to appear on its surface. I was shocked. The strength of the void behemoth was indeed far beyond my imagination. I didn't dare to stay on the defensive anymore. Holding the God-slaying Night Spear, I launched a proactive attack. God-slaying finisher, Trinity. I let out a furious roar, pouring all the power in my body into the spear. The black dragon Cheonchia and Killin, the phantoms of the 3 super beasts, appeared behind me simultaneously, and then merged with the spear. A massive energy wave of 3 intertwined colors shot out from the spear, like a giant dragon, charging towards the body of the void behemoth. The void behemoth let out an angry roar, and countless tentacles wove together, forming a massive black barrier. Asterisk boom! Asterisk, the energy wave slammed into the black barrier, making an earth-shattering noise. The entire space was shaking violently, and the distorted light became even more chaotic. The black barrier was instantly torn to shreds by the energy wave. The energy wave continued unabated, striking the body of the void behemoth with full force. The void behemoth let out a shrill scream, and a massive hole was blasted into its body. Black blood gushed out like a fountain. Damn human, I want you dead. The void behemoth was completely enraged. Its body began to writhe violently, and dozens of crimson eyes simultaneously shot out red beams, firing towards me. I hurriedly dodged, but the beams were too fast, and I was still hit by several of them. My energy shield shattered instantly, and all 3 sets of Super Beast armor suffered various degrees of damage. Blood also trickled from the corner of my mouth. No, at this rate, I'll be worn down to death, I thought to myself. I took a deep breath, a hint of madness flashing in my eyes. I decided to take a gamble and release all the power of the chaos body. Arg! I let out a roar, the chaos power inside me erupting like a volcano. Under the influence of the chaos power, the tricolored Super Beast armor began to undergo a radical transformation. They gradually fused together, forming a brand new armor that radiated a 7-colored glow. An unprecedented power exploded from my body. The entire space trembled under the pressure of this power. The void behemoth's attacks hit me, but it felt like a mere tickle, unable to cause any damage at all. This is the Chaos Divine Armor? How is this possible? How could you possibly manifest the Chaos Divine Armor? The void behemoth let out a cry of terror. Ignoring its exclamation, I held the weapon that had evolved into the Chaos Divine Spear and charged towards the void behemoth. Chaos Divine Skill, Genesis. I roared, violently swinging down the Chaos Divine Spear. A massive burst of multicolored light flashed by, as if it split the entire space in two. The true form of the void behemoth was instantly cleaved in half by the radiant light. Countless crimson eyes went dark at once. It let out one final agonized scream, and then lost all traces of life with the death of the void behemoth. The dimensional rift above began to slowly close, and the whole space also started to become unstable. It could collapse at any moment. I dare not stay any longer. Immediately, I turned and flew toward the portal of light. As I burst out of the portal and returned to the deep pit in the chemical zone, I caught the portal fading away. Si Chu Kuang and the others were gathered around the edge of the pit, waiting anxiously. When they saw me come out, they all cheered excitedly. "Bro, you're back. That's awesome. We knew you could do it." I landed on the ground, dispersed my armor, and the chaotic god armor showed a weary smile. Just then, the blood moon in the sky began to slowly fade, turning pure white again. Sunshine broke through the clouds and lit up the earth. Everyone looked up.
Taking in the long mist sunlight.
Tears of excitement filled their eyes. The blood moon was gone. We did it. We're not going to die. The cheers spread throughout all of Shangdu City and echoed across the entire Dragon Nation and across the globe. After the void behemoth was eliminated, all the rifts automatically closed. The remaining giants lost their source of power and soon perished completely. Humanity finally won this arduous, epic war. In the days that followed, we began the long process of rebuilding. Neo-God Group worked hand in hand with the authorities, clearing the ruins and rebuilding our homes. The Ultra Beast network was retained and became a platform for communication and learning among humans. A year later, Shangdu had regained its former prosperity. New skyscrapers rose from the ground. Traffic filled the bustling streets. Smiles returned to your faces. I stood on the top floor of the Star God Tower, looking over the thriving city below, my heart overwhelmed with emotion. So much has happened over the past year. I went from an ordinary guy who just wanted to neuter a turtle to a savior who saved the world. After the void behemoth was destroyed, Old Hay fell into a deep sleep. He said he had used too much energy and would need a long time to recover. I placed him in my office and changed his water and fed him every day. Si Chu Kuang became the commander-in-chief of Neo-God's Ultra Beast Legion, in charge of training new Ultra Beast warriors and safeguarding humanity. Su Muyao continued as my secretary and housekeeper, while also managing Neo-God Group's daily affairs. Zhao Yufei became the deputy commander of the Ultra Beast Legion, responsible for intelligence. After a year of honing their skills, the Ice Sparrow sisters had grown into outstanding Ultra Beast warriors and joined my core team. Lin Baikuan continued to serve as chief of the 8th War Zone, maintaining close cooperation with the Heart Spirit Group. Elder Sun led his team of scientists in ongoing research on Ultra Beasts and Void Energy. They've made many important breakthroughs, and humanity's technology has advanced rapidly. Kong Kai also became an exceptional intelligence agent, proving her worth through her actions and earning everyone's recognition. As for those who sacrificed their lives in the war, we built a monument in their honor. To forever remember their contributions, I picked up the teacup on my desk and took a sip. Sunlight streamed through the glass, shining on me, warm and comfortable. Although the void behemoth has been destroyed, I know there are still many unknown dangers in the universe, and new threats will emerge in the future. But I'm no longer afraid, because I know I'm not fighting alone. I have a group of trusted companions and countless brave fellow humans. Together, we'll protect this beautiful home. I look out the window. The sky is bright blue, white clouds drifting by. These peaceful days are truly precious and worth protecting with our lives. I gently touch Old Hay's turtle tank on the desk, looking at him lying there peacefully inside. A gentle smile appears on my lips. Thank you, Old Hay. Let's walk the road ahead together.